All right. Meanwhile, at the DNC, even on a DNC event on Thursday, President Biden continued his attacks on the Republican Party, saying, quote, that what we're seeing now is either the beginning of the death knell or an extreme MAGA philosophy. It's not just Trump. It's the entire philosophy that underpins I'm going to say something, it's like semi-fascism. And get this, the DNC chair is defending the president's remarks. Really? Here to weigh in is Mollie Hemingway, editor-in-chief at the Federalist and a Fox News contributor. Mollie, good to see you. What's your take on this? Because I see that when I was in politics, I wanted people to actually like me and vote for me. And even if they weren't going to vote for me, I didn't want them to work against me, right? Don't go knock doors against me. And here you're calling 70+ million voters that voted for Donald Trump semi-fascist? The politics of this doesn't make sense.
It's extremely hostile to say this against half the country.
Yeah.
It's also just factually inaccurate. If you look up what the definition of fascism is, I think it's frequently used as this tantrum word from the left, meaning I don't like those people. But what it actually means is when you join corporate interests with political parties or regime power to control the agenda of a country. So when I'm thinking of that word, I think of how big tech colludes with the Democrat Party to suppress information that hurts Democrat political prospects, or how big corporations push the Democrat agenda. But so it's just a falsehood to use it against the Republican Party. But it's also just incredibly dangerous, hostile rhetoric. And we just saw, it was just announced that the Seminole County GOP offices were just attacked with vandalism, calling them fascists, echoing the rhetoric that Biden had just used.
You know, just when you think about consolidating power in the federal government, Donald Trump did the exact opposite. Think of COVID, for example. He was trying to say, I'm not going to have mandates in the federal government. I'm going to give this decision back to the states. They should make decisions for what's right for their state, or mayors for their communities. And it's Joe Biden who is the one who's consolidated power in the federal government and had these COVID mandates.
It's just a generally different governing philosophy that we're seeing, where people have a choice between, do they want this centralization, particularly at the federal level, where it's a one-size-fits-all approach to everything, including, really big regulations, big industries, or telling people what they can say or telling people what they can think. And but again, back to the point of what Biden is doing here, though, he was elected on a promise. The corporate media said that he would be a uniter. He was a moderate. He was hopeful. And what we've been getting from him is just incredibly hostile, just cruel rhetoric. It's not a total surprise. Joe Biden has a lengthy history of being a hostile person and being a jerk. It was when he ran against Mitt Romney and said that Mitt Romney wanted to put black people in chains. I mean, just really disgusting rhetoric. So I'm never quite sure why he got that reputation, but it seems that as he is aging, he's not even able to do that nice guy anymore, and you're just kind of getting the jerk.
I think it is part of the aging process, and I think he's just gotten surly, mean, and more liberal. But he's not the first one. I mean, you go back to Barack Obama. He was the one who said the Republicans are going to hold on to their, cling to their Bibles and their guns. It was Hillary Clinton who used the basket of deplorable phrase. And it almost seems like the Democrat Party, or the leaders at least, are trying to otherize Republicans. And again, I think, there's a lot of liberals I don't agree with. But you want to see what unites us, what brings us together.
Well, what's particularly dangerous, too, is we have the Department of Justice under Biden actually going on heavy attack against Republicans. We have these two standards of justice, where if you're Hunter Biden or Hillary Clinton or the FBI, you can get away with law breaking. If you're a Republican, they're going to throw the entire book at you, put you in prison. That is real. So this type of rhetoric matched with a highly politicized and corrupted Department of Justice and FBI is dangerous.
But also, if you're a MAGA Republican, MAGA stands for Make America Great Again. It's about putting America first. And if you look at the wide swath of Americans, I come from Wisconsin, that believe in this philosophy. They believe in God and country and patriotism and hard work. And they want their leaders to fight to make sure that they have jobs that pay them well so they can support their families. They love their flag. They stand for the national anthem. These are American people that fit American values. And we're saying now that those values are semi-fascist? It doesn't make sense to me.
Right. You're talking about ideas that nearly every Republican holds, but also a lot of Democrats and a lot of independents hold as well. And so at this time where we're having civil strife and people breaking down how they're able to talk to each other, it would be great for political leaders on all sides to think about more unity, and how to bring people
This
together.
is not a new idea. These ideas have been American ideas for a very long time, and it's only changed with recent Democrat movement to the left that they're now saying these ideas are extreme. I want to quickly move on to another topic. There's a story highlighting Americans that are going on a crime crisis here, especially in New York. Crime has gotten so bad in New York that New York City is now sending maintenance managers out to patrol the streets because of a staffing shortage. I mean, Mollie, you don't have enough cops on the streets. We're taking maintenance managers to now police the streets of New York City?
We're seeing this in a lot of cities throughout the country where you're having really high increases of crime, including violent crime, at the same time that police forces are having trouble recruiting or retaining people. Unsurprisingly, because there are so many attacks on them. But that's what's going to happen is, and then the worse things get with the police, and the more you're bringing out other people to kind of fill in the gaps, the more crime will increase, and the worse it will be for those communities that are supposedly the ones who are being protected by these attacks on the cops.
Yeah, it's the most vulnerable communities, the lower income minority communities that have now the rises in crime, who, as to your point, the Democrats say they're there to protect, but their communities have gotten less safe. All the while, these rich liberal elites, they live in gated communities, right? They don't have to live with their policies.
Exactly.
Exactly. Mollie Hemingway, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.